Facebook stream's kicking up, Ryan. Hang tight. I'll intro you and we'll rock and roll.
Alrighty.
All right. Good day and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Live the Fuel show. So I'm excited tonight. And if anybody's been listening to this podcast for a long time now or following this on social media, I'm always excited. That's why I keep doing podcasts. So actually, I got a reminder that tomorrow, as I'm recording this live tonight over Facebook, tomorrow will be 2016 was when I released the very first episode, effective tomorrow. We're recording this today on September 3rd, 2020. So it's just a funny little recollection. Like I'm connecting up with an awesome new author for you guys tonight. So let's get right into it because I don't want to waste any time. I want to enjoy some stories with this gentleman. But ladies and gentlemen, I am connecting up with a very, very inspiring storyteller here. His new book just came out in July. And he's a retired Green Beret. It's a story of a U.S. Special Forces soldier. He was medically retired after stepping on an IED. You've heard this time and time again through, I can't tell you how many books I've read / listened to. We'll get into that, by the way, too. Listening to books on Audible does count, people. And he's got an incredible story to share about the return to active duty and combat. And his background is very diversified because I will admit I have not finished his book yet because I'm still digging through it. I just made the chapter 5 today, and this guy's worn many hats in military. Most guys like just go through one chapter. He's bounced them around. I got him live on the feed here. So without further ado, Ryan Hendrickson, author of Tip of the Spear. Welcome, sir. Welcome to podcast world. So
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me on. This is awesome.
So right before we hit record today, you were like, I'm still not used to traffic. And I'm still getting used to so how long have you been back now?
I've been home from Afghanistan about 7 days. And today was my first trip into town. Yeah, all kinds of pissed off.
Well, wait, with our by the way, I have no editing here on this show. So would you say, are you pissed off with everything that you and your brothers and sisters have been protecting and how fucked up our society is right now? Would that sum it up or something different?
So it's definitely, I'm not going to lie. I mean, everything we were hearing about what was going on in Afghanistan, we only get the major news highlights, and I think everybody here knows what the main highlights were. And so I was fully expecting to be flying over the United States and it's burning down, but that's not the case. But I guess my whole thing is just, I mean, in Afghanistan, life is simple. I love it. You know, people say thank you for your service and everything like that. And I'm like, I really think you need to say that to my wife, because being back home, besides getting to be with my wife again, it sucks. The traffic, and you got to pay your own bills, and you got to worry. Like, you don't just go to the chow hall anymore. You're actually, it's just, yeah, it's an eye opener. And then today there's just so many people, which I guess is a normal day in our town, but to me it's just a little overwhelming. So it's nice to be back home, got a beer, and I'm doing a great show. So this is good now.
Well, I'm honored to have you, man. I didn't realize it was like 7 days. And I mean, just to preface this for the listeners and the watchers in the Facebook world, like I think was it in a GoRuck group? I think it was in a GoRuck group. Your buddy shared your book and information, and I think it was in the GoRuck Facebook group because I've GoRucked. And I was like, dude, I've just been jonesing on former military books. I don't care if you're Green Beret. I don't care if you're other forms of special forces. Obviously, everybody's all about SEALs, but it's just been like, man, I've been just crushing books lately this year because there's so much, seems like negative energy out there. I love when I get overwhelmed with a lot of negative crap. I like to then re-immerse myself in positive, inspirational stories. And that's what I get out of content with books like yours, for example. So thank you for, by the way, of taking the trials and tribulations of trying to figure out what it takes to write a freaking book. Because I'm in editing on mine right now. And actually, let's pause on that. What's worse, writing it or editing it? Because I'm going with editing right now. I hate it.
Yeah. So I, it didn't actually turn out, it didn't start off as a book. It started off, I was going through some, some stuff. And I didn't really want to see a counselor or anything like that because it was just, I had tried once before and I felt very numbered.
Mhm.
You walk in and he's going down the list of,
Oh, in the counseling, like, oh, I'm
yeah,
just a number on the checkbook, or yeah, okay.
yep, filling in the blanks, checking the marks, and well, what do you want to be prescribed? And it's nothing. I want to talk to you, dude.
Yeah.
And so I quit with that, but I was talking to our chaplain quite a bit, and one of my biggest issues that I had was you and all your buddies, you guys can get together, go have a beer, and just talk about life and issues and everything like that, and it feels good. You get it off your shoulders, but then you all go your separate ways, and you
Mhm.
go home and you're worried about like stupid crap like me today. I have to fuel my truck up. Nobody does that for me anymore. This is very awkward. Stuff like that. And it's all dead air. Everything you just talked about is back as an issue again because nothing was tangible. It was just talked about, and then people went about their lives. And so our chaplain, he said, well, have you ever thought about writing? I was like, have you ever thought about how dumb that sounds? I majored in English in the third grade, but that's really it.
Right.
And so, but it was like 2017 and I just started writing. It was, you know, pretty traumatic time for me. And I was in Afghanistan.
Okay.
Yeah, because I went to Afghanistan in 2010 and 12. Then I took a break and we were doing South Central America. And then I went back 16, 17, 18, 19, and I just got home a couple days ago for 20. So, but 17, it was like I was starting to deal with a lot of stuff from before.
All
And
the
so I,
yeah.
yeah, I just opened up my laptop and started typing, and it just flew. And it was one page went to 5 to 50 to. And so it actually didn't start off as a book. It started off as therapy,
Like
which,
journaling.
which turned into a book because after, I had a couple of really close friends of mine, and they're like, dude, I deal with the same stuff. You got to get this out. Same thing, blah, blah, blah. The just very, very overwhelming same message.
Yeah.
And so got a hold of Mike Yorkie, who is editor, and yeah, page by page, month by month, sentence by sentence. And then the DOD had to do their review.
Oh,
Woo!
that's true. That's true. Because like you got to declassify your content, don't you?
Yep.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
wow. It's funny because like obviously I never served in the military, but part of my backstory is that's why fires everything is. I served as it's actually kind of funny. I mean, just to try and connect with you because I feel like I barely can, but in some of your early chapters in the book, you reference you being from Redding, California.
Mhm.
And I'm literally in the middle of editing a chapter right now named after a guy I served with because my rookie year, I served as a hotshot wildland firefighter with the U.S. Forest Service. So uh, that was in wildland firefighting, that was the elite branch of wildland firefighting that we never called it that. It was just like, it wasn't really heavily publicized except when the world went to shit and everything was on fire, they sent us in. So,
Yeah.
but one of the guys I had served with in my rookie year, 2010, he didn't return for our Snooki year, which is there's a whole chapter on that rookie to Snooki. But anyway, his name is Dalton, and he was from Redding, California. And unfortunately, he was the young kid. Like I was called the old guy on the crew because as a rookie, I was already 31, and they were like,
Yeah.
"The hell are you doing here?" Everybody's, it's like military. It's like there is like 18 to 24, and I was the first guy to start getting grays.
Yeah. No, it sounds familiar. I went through the Q course at 29.
Yeah,
And
that's when you made that transition with the whole Air Force combining with the Army to try and get more people over, right?
yes, well, over manned career fields in the Air Force, they were doing a direct transfer over to the Army if you wanted to. And I was going through a very big change in my life, a divorce, and I just I
escape.
yeah, I went to the recruiter and went infantry and just went to my house and locked the door and shut the lights off and left.
You're in Florida, right?
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah. Like I said,
But
I'm not done with the book yet, but I'm like, all right, like this stuff is fresh. It's hot right now in my head.
yeah, no, I know all about the hot shots though, because when I had left the Navy in April of 2001, I was trying to get on the crew, but they had like a ungodly amount of wait time for jump school.
Oh, wait, so wait, who had wait time?
The Forest Service.
Oh, that was with the smoke jumper program then. So
Yeah.
you're trying to get on the smoke jumpers. Yeah.
Hmm.
See, a lot of
Yeah.
people, I tell them I was a hot shot. They're like, oh yeah, so you did skydiving. And I'm like, no, those are smoke jumpers. There was two type 1 incident command crews that you either were a smoke jumper or hot shots. Hot shots hiked up, smoke jumpers skydived in. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking,
knowing
so
you,
the way,
yeah, I could totally see you being a smoke jumper guy.
well, the way that I thought it was you were a hot shot until you got the slot for jump school, which then you would have moved over to smoke jumping. That's what I thought it was, but
yeah. I mean, if you did the research, it's funny because we only had a 45-pound pack test, which was standard for all a while in firefighting to get your red card to be, live assignment. And then I looked at the smoke jumping program too, by the way, because I was an adrenaline junkie, and it was like 90 to 110-pound pack test or whatever. I was like, why the hell? And I didn't realize all your fire gear. Oh, and you got to pack your suit out. So it's like, and your jumpsuit and everything else, your fire resistant material jumpsuit. I was like, damn, it's like a double pack test.
yeah. Yeah, but it's
funny because later you ended up jumping.
Yeah, and I absolutely am happy that I was never a smoke jumper because I hate heights. I did not know that.
Yeah,
I'm terrified of heights.
This day, you were obviously through that program, you were a knee knocker. I think you were calling yourself or something like that. You were hoping that people didn't see your legs shake.
Oh man, I'd puke. I'd everything. I mean, the minute that ramp opened up, I was either throwing up or. And it's funny too because I'm a jump master. I don't know how I did that, but I did.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I guess you could connect with people and help them, I guess, relate to your own concerns.
Yeah, it's called fear to height. I mean, once I was under a canopy, I was fine. It was the fact that you were asking me to there's nothing wrong with this airplane. You want me to do what? Why don't you just land? That's easy.
Well, obviously you got over that. Well, you didn't get completely over that, but eventually professionally you had to get over that or else.
It just got worse. I would just tell people, whoever was the jumper behind me, I just tell them to keep pushing.
Yeah.
Just put your hand in the back of my pack and just push me off the ramp. Once I'm under canopy, I'll be fine. But I'd get wobbly knees and yeah.
Yeah, I guess I should have been a smoke jumper then because I have no fear of that. I first time I went skydiving was back in 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I was like, all right. There was no knee knock. Actually, the guy told me he was strapped to my back. He's like, all right, you're bigger than me, so you got to throw us out. I was like,
yeah.
My first time jumping, bro. I was like, you're like the son-in-law of the Guinness record holder of jumping because the father of his wife was the former military and all his jumps under his belt. So I was like,
yeah,
I'm here to learn from you, man. He's like, yeah, but you're 6'4" and I'm 5'8". So he's like, roll out.
Yeah. Even hanging off a ramp as a jump master or hanging out the door as a jump master, still, oh man, I hate heights. There is just something about it.
All right. I mean, so so basically, as weird as this is, okay, you would rather get shot at on the ground than jump out of an airplane, maybe?
Oh yeah, 100%. Easy, easy day.
Which is funny because I got military guys, buddies of mine, former military or retired, and they were like, when they found out years ago when I decided to leave I went from farm kid to corporate guy to realizing money isn't everything, and gave it all up and went and fought fires for a couple of years. I just needed to escape. And
nice.
You're gonna go do what? They're like, yeah, I'd rather get shot at. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's just like, dude, you're gonna go fight Mother Nature and stare down walls of fire. He's like, I'd rather kill the guy trying to shoot me. He's like, you're just trying to beat something that's virtually not beatable. And I was like,
Yeah.
I never thought about it that way, but too late now. So,
Yeah. No, where I grew up in Oregon though, it's because I was born in Redding. Well, actually, a little town called Fall River Mills. We lived in Redding for a couple of years, but I claim a little logging town in Oregon. It's called Lowell, Oregon. Um, but yeah, so I claim Oregon as
can you
my
see Shasta from there?
from
From that
where from
area?
Lowell.
Yeah.
No, no, no. You
I
can't
don't
see Shasta from there.
Okay.
Yeah, you start seeing Shasta around like I'd probably say Medford.
Okay.
Yeah.
We never got because a hotshot crew, you're shipped where all the big shit is. So we
Mhm.
got shipped all over, but I never got to actually fight a fire in Oregon. But we were 1 year we were assigned in Shasta, at Mount Shasta. So it was, which is funny because quick segue, the girl that I briefly got to hang out with and have a good time with that I learned about wildland firefighting from because I'm an East Coaster, and I was like, she's like, oh, she was from Nevada and she was moving home to go be a hotshot to help
Yeah.
pay for massage therapy school because that's what she's always wanted to do. And I was like, and her name was Shasta, and I was like, are you named after a mountain? And she's like, yeah, there is a Mount Shasta in California. And I was like, she's like, oh, by the way, my younger sister's name is Denali. I was like, your parents are straight up hippies. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Fall River Mills is a small town right off of Mount Shasta.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, I know, but obviously I know the logging history up there because one of the books that I bought as I was trying to make the decision to get into fire was called, I'm turning around here, the Year of the Fires, which is the entire, it's based in 1910 when literally half of our country was on fire. And that's when wildland firefighting was birthed, it was created. And most of the intensity was in logging areas because a lot of the freight trains or the trains trying to move wood in and out, from the logging operations, the climate was so dry. The sparks from the rails and the wheels of the rail cars would set the forest on fire.
Wow.
So the very first wildland firefighters they needed manpower to try and mitigate this. So they just, well, here's entire teams of loggers. So they can't cut trees because everything's on fire. So let's pay them and give them some shovels and shit. And so
Yeah.
there's a lot of history in the Northwest of wildland fire and where it came from, and a lot of connections to the logging community. Because I know that you mentioned that in your book when, like, your dad before he became a pastor was trying to get into logging more, but then I guess there was a whole shakeup with that because of some kind of spotted owl or something like that. Right?
Yeah, so yeah, he owned a pretty big logging company, and yeah, he had a fleet of trucks and everything, and then spotted owl came in and kind of, well,
Endangered species. So
yep.
all right, which is crazy. That's a whole, again, ladies and gentlemen, like these little things I'm telling you, this is just the first 4 or 5 chapters. So I mean, I still got what 6-7 hours left according to Audible to complete the rest of the book. So but hold on a second. I gotta do just from fun because I have all the technology here. So this was me in 2010.
Yeah, I saw that on your page.
Yeah. So, and actually, since I'm screen sharing, ladies and gentlemen, for people listening to this, make sure you check him out at ryanmhendrickson.com. That's his site that he's growing Tip of the Spear from. And obviously the book is on Amazon. I've already bought it and I've already ordered it in physical and Audible, obviously, since I'm listening to Audible, but I always like to try and plug as much as I can on my show. So I'm loving the book, dude. But obviously back to you. So, okay. Book writing, torture, counseling, therapy, which I agree. It's funny. I waited, I fought fire 2010, 2011. So I wasn't a career risk taker like you spent your whole career doing this. I only did it for 2 years and decided it wasn't for me. And I knew I was capable of just meant to do something different, nothing more. But it took me 10 years later. Now this is 10 years later of my rookie year, 2020, to try to figure out, oh, I think I need to write a book.
Yeah.
So, at least you started memoiring and journaling to work through some of your shit. Can we talk a little bit about that? Because it's like, okay, obviously it turned into a book, but back when you were doing this, you didn't like working with counseling. You felt like you were just a checkbox, a number on their assembly line of counselings, right? So
Yeah.
was the first part of journaling sounded like it was hell of a struggle. I mean, it's can't be easy. So
it kind of, I guess kind of the place that I was at when I actually opened up my keyboard and or my laptop and started typing was it was weird because when I went back and kind of read what I had wrote, I couldn't believe like I was pouring that kind of stuff out, and I was jumping all over the place from what I had dealt with just incidents in Afghanistan to then I would wake up at night and oh man, it was like my body was forcing out all this shit that bothered me all the way back from when I was a kid to you name it, and I would just type it and type it and type it and type it, and that's kind of it wasn't until the very end when I kind of put it in the order that it is in right now for the book, and then Mike Yorkie came in and helped me edit the book so it didn't. Well, it wasn't a book at the time. He was the one that convinced me to make it a book. But he helped me edit it so it didn't look like a 3-year-old had, too much milk on the rocks or something.
Well, so he's actually an author, right? I've heard his name before.
He is, yeah.
I'm gonna look him up. I know for a fact. So then he decided that he heard that you were writing this story, and he's like, I got to help this guy, or did you just connect to him to somebody else?
So I connected with him through an author. Her name is Lynn Vincent.
Okay.
Yeah, she wrote Dog Company, the USS Indianapolis Worst Sea Disaster. She wrote quite a few books. But what had happened was, so after I had wrote everything out, and then I kind of laid it out more in the structure that it is today for the book. And it's kind of like it's laid out that way because that's the way my mind works. It jumps everywhere. But I had a couple friends that had read it, that I trust, and they're like, dude, you need someone to actually like look at this. Yeah. And I said, okay. So I fell for a couple of those online scams at first. And
how much money did you lose? Can I ask? Because I've spent some.
3,500.
Okay. So, you beat me. I had $3,000.
Yeah.
So that was that was a year ago. So yeah.
Yeah, I got taken for 3,500 by 2 different people, but it is what it is. So finally my buddy was like, have you ever just looked at military books and tried to find the author and emailed them? I was like, well, no. So I did.
I'm going to give him a shout out. This is him, right?
Yeah, that's Mike Yorkie. Yep.
Oh, MikeYorkie.com. So he's a co-author too of a lot of books. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. This guy sounds experienced.
Oh yeah. He is one of a kind. I'll actually get to what he did for me that you'll never see today at all.
Okay.
But so finally I just started emailing authors, and I had a couple people respond back to me, but the one person responded back, and it was a legitimate response. It wasn't a,
automatic or
yeah. And so I said, hey, I got this story. I was curious if you could take a look at it and tell me what you think. And so she actually then turned around and looked me up to make sure that I was who I said I was. And she was like, oh, hey, what's going on? Congratulations on the Silver Star, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, how do you know all that? So she said, I got my sources too. But she said, I'm going to be blunt with you.
She just says that. She's like, I got my sources. Okay.
She's awesome. I love this lady. But she said, I'm going to be straight with you. I don't have the time to look at your book. But what I do have is a guy that he could take some time. He'll look at it. And he's experienced. He's been in the business a long time, and this guy's legit.
Okay.
So she sends me Mike Yorkie's contact information, and he responds. And he's like, "Yeah, hey, you got a lot going on, but I'll give it a look over when I can, and I'll let you know." So to me, I was thinking that was a nice way of saying, "Hey, man, thanks, but here's 500 pages of just shit. You know,
brush you off.
Yeah, I got a life.
Yeah.
So about 2 days later, he gets back a hold of me. He said, "Hey, we need to talk." And so so we scheduled an interview, and he's like, "Hey, you got a book here. You got something here. I mean, we need to edit it. We need to get it, you know, again, to where it doesn't sound like, you know, I wrote it at the tavern freaking on a 7-day bender."
Yep.
But he's like, we can do something with this. You got a hell of a story. And I was like, "Hey, I don't have any money or nothing like that." And he's like, "You know what? I believe God is pointing me in this direction. I believe he led me to you for a reason." He's like, "I'll take it on and we'll just see what happens. And if he said, if it pans out, then great. And if it doesn't, this is a hell of a story. And it's been a pleasure working with you." So then he got me in touch with a guy named Greg Johnson, who's with World Literary Service as an agent.
Are they a publisher? Oh, he's an agency, not a publisher. Okay.
Yeah, and so both Greg and Mike went to the University of Oregon, and anybody who knows me, I'm a duck 100%. Like there's yeah, a duck and a Seahawk.
Oh, well, you're definitely a Northwest guy, because I'll screen share again. I mean, on your Facebook profile photo and obviously on your website about the author.
Yeah.
There's the Seahawks flag, and I was like, okay, hardcore Northwestern here, man. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that was in the Wardak province. But Greg Johnson, him and Mike, they used to work with the Old Christian Network, the Focus on the Family.
Oh yeah, I heard about this. They work with a lot of authors. Yeah.
Yeah, they did that together for a long time. Well, then Greg Johnson says, "Hey, if this is good for Mike, then this is good for me." And they were like, "We hope this pans out, but we're going to do this. We're going to do this no money, and we'll see what happens. And hopefully it works out, because great. But if it doesn't, you got a great story."
Well, it's interesting, because since we're talking about authoring and all this stuff, that I've talked to a lot of people, and now running a podcast now for over 4 years, I've had lots of authors. I've had book editors. I didn't even know what a ghostwriter was until a couple years ago. It was ghostwriters, you know, right? So
that's number one person that got me.
Right? I was like, "I'm sorry, you're a ghost? What?" I've learned a lot, which is funny, because actually my editor now is somebody that I've had on my podcast show twice, and she's a ball buster like me. And I got to do a shout out to Hillary Jostrom, because like she's such an amazing woman. She suffers from this a lifelong of inflammatory illness and diseases, and she started her own business called Sick Biz. So she helps people who live with lifelong illnesses, inspire them and work with them so they can start their own businesses, so they can do something with their lives if they are stuck at home or whatever. Just an amazing woman. And so I was like, after I wasted the $3,000, then I reached for this year, you know, because even though I like to think that I'm smart, but you know, I still have dumbass moves, and that was one of them. And she was like, "I'm sorry, you did what? You joined an author group that costs you money, and you still haven't put the book out yet?" I was like, "Well, part of their branding is they help you get it out fast." And she's like, "Well, that's bullshit." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Because you're still the end cause problem." She's like, "They can have the best program ever, but if they don't have somebody pushing you," she's like, your own roadblocks that you put up will hold you back." So I don't know if you experienced some of that too, but I was like, "Oh shit, you got me on that one."
Yeah.
And so finally I was just like, and this was like right at the beginning of COVID. And I was like, I got to put some skin in the game. This book was supposed to be out a year ago. Because just so you understand, my book is going to be about the transformation from experiencing hotshots and the crazy things I've learned 10 years since, but also during that time. But I'm donating 100% of the proceeds of the book to fallen firefighters and all of that. So like, because I learned, that's my point here, not every author becomes like a very successful, rich person, right? It's like, you don't write a book to make money. People are like, then why do you do it? So how would you want to answer that question?
I did it because I actually wanted to know what it was like to put myself out there. And
nice.
It wasn't just the fact that I was writing a book, but I felt, I mean, I don't want to get too like religious or anything, but I felt kind of this calling because see, we gotta, in my opinion, just my opinion alone, we have an issue with victimization in America. I see it everywhere. Everyone's a victim. I can't because of this. I can't because I grew up like this. I can't because this isn't hand. And we have entitlement. I am owed this. I deserve. And we have all of this. And basically in the book, it details out my falling into the victimization mindset, into that pit, barely climbing myself out of the pit, taking control of my life again, owning my circumstances. It's not because, I grew up dirt poor, or it's not because, I stepped on an IED or any of the number of things that happen. Those are all just speed bumps in life. But the biggest reason why, because you do, like making money. I'm not Stephen King. Congratulations for him, but that's not me. I didn't write the.
I mean, he's a genius in what he's done.
Yeah, I didn't write the book to make money at all, because that's not even like it's almost impossible, and so that's fine. But I wrote the book because I feel that I have a message that can definitely help, or it could maybe broaden some horizons. And so my dad said it to me best when I was in the hospital. So I'm laying there. I finally make it to San Antonio, and I'm in the hospital. I'm all banged up and everything.
And this is this last year, or is this?
No, 2010 when I stepped on the IED.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how many times you've been in and out of the hospital, so I got to get a date on it. So.
Oh yeah, it's 29 surgeries now, but so I'm in the hospital right after, well, not right after, but it took them a while to get me back to the States because I couldn't stabilize. But I'm laying there, and he said, "You know what? You're a lucky man." It's like, okay, I've heard that a lot. Should be dead, but I'm lucky. He goes, no, that's not. He's like, you've been given an opportunity that most men would kill for. I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, you've been given a second chance. It's like, okay. He goes, no, I don't think you understand what I mean. He said, you've been given a second chance at life. He said, you can do whatever you want. He said, but the way that I look at it, you got two courses of action. Number one is you can accept what has happened to you, become your injury, let your injury own you, let your injury control you. You will always be Ryan Hendrickson who stepped on an IED. You will always be that guy that's held back by this traumatic, incident that happened in Afghanistan. You will always be that man. And he's like, and no one will blame you for it. There's plenty of wounded guys out there running around right now that they've become their injury. Or you can use this situation, you can use this injury and this incident in life to make yourself a better man. You can use it to make you stronger, to be that man that people look up to, that you actually benefit the world, to be that man that actually gives something back and not just takes, or as we like to call it.
Has grown a lot in life, man. From what I was reading your book about his history too, and before he became a pastor and beyond, I'm like, his trials, like, he has grown a lot in life to be able to put that on you like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and he just basically is, you can use this to become the best man that you benefit, and you can give something back to people. And so I have, because I feel like probably my entire life I've battled with some sort of victimization. Oh, it's because we're poor. Oh, it's because of this or this or this. I can't do this because, and you'll see it in my book. I blame, people for my issues, or any numbers of things. And so before September 12th, 2010, when I stepped on the IED. Before then, I mean, I was still a victim. I had successes. I was a Green Beret, but I was still a victim. I had 2 failed marriages, everybody else's fault but my own. And I had come to a point before then that I just didn't see my purpose in life. And I was like, what? And I remember wanting that battlefield glorious, if I, I'm not really doing anything. So I want to be remembered for something, because I just don't have a purpose anymore. And I
You
actually
definitely
think,
tell you're like I'm a little bit like you, like as far as the action thing. I'm not at your level, but it's like I agree with you. It's like there's that feeling of always being in the hot zone or in the action. It's a high, and it's hard to not do that anymore. And I could see where I felt it just going through the first part of your book. I was like, oh yeah, I like this guy. But
yeah,
it also can be unhealthy to ride that high all the time.
oh
So
yeah.
yeah.
But I think like before 2000 or before September 12th, 2010, I wasn't really contributing. I was just kind of, I guess, existing. You know what I mean? And so I think actually, I mean, people, it's weird to say this, but I think stepping on that, well, I don't think I know, stepping on that IED, it actually saved my life, in a weird way of saying, because I was able to refocus and to turn my life around from being the victim to taking control of my life again. Well, actually, for the first time in my life, taking control
Yeah.
and actually being that man that gives back. And I think my book is maybe the best attempt that I have of kind of giving my story, but the dangers of victimization. And you just got to turn on the news today, and you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I'm with you. I mean, I'm putting some of that into my book too. It's funny because like the tagline for the show is right, we fuel your health, business, and lifestyle. But over all these years, I always joke around about it. I'm like, I feel like I should have thrown the word mindset in there because I can't tell you how many times exactly what you're talking about right now. This piece around the power of mindset impacts so many things. And
Mhm.
to your point, so yeah, I was like, I don't think I have a chapter called like victimology or anything like that, but it's like there's something in there around that I can't remember right now. But it's just it drives me nuts because we're all guilty of it. Let's be real. Like I can't put myself above that either. I have struggled through the same thing, just like you have been so gracious to share the same thing with us. Is that's right, people? It's called being human.
Yeah.
But the biggest problem with today is there's such a high percentage of the populace that nobody's checking them before they wreck themselves, right? And what people don't realize is that, well, you got to check yourself before you wreck yourself, whatever song that's from, whatever. It's like,
Mhm.
we got to own our shit. And that's what
Yeah.
pisses me off. And that's what I get so angry with myself. And I feel like you do too, but you can clarify that. It's like when I don't check myself fast enough and then I still say something stupid or whatever, it's, even in my own, I'm newly married, by the way. So I'm a year and a half into this. So I waited all these years into my 40s to finally get married because I knew how much of a jackass I was. So, and she is the perfect partner for me because she calls me on my shit all the time. So, but on that point, it's like, I can't tell you the times I stick my foot in my mouth. And it's like, the one thing we could do is hold ourselves accountable. That's right. I have a whole chapter on accountability. And
Yeah.
there was an old mission statement from a company I used to work for before firefighting. It says, we are all personally and collectively accountable for our results. And
Mhm.
I was so surprised that all these years later, I'm like, damn, I still remember a mission statement from a company I worked for. But it's a great statement and it's a great value statement. And it does apply to what you and I are talking about. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree 100. I mean, there's not even a percentage that I agree with. It's a million percent. You have to hold yourself accountable. You are the only person that can control you, and that's the problem. That's where people are getting tore up, and this is actually some of the stuff that I don't agree with. With I'm not going to label anybody, but some of the things that I don't agree with is fact is like, hey, we will fix you. here's a prescription, or hey, no, no, no,
pharmaceuticals. Ugh.
yeah, or no, no, it's not your fault. It's because you grew up like this. This isn't your fault. Or no, 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 it's okay. You're because you're part of this group, or you're a part of this group, or you grew up like this, or you are. It's okay. It's not your fault. It's bullshit. Like accountability, we have lost 100%. We have lost the ability to hold ourselves accountable for our own mistakes. It is always somebody else's fault. It is always, I mean, we're going through it right now, and I'm not going to get political on here, but watch the news. It's always somebody else's fault.
Here's the beauty.
It's never our own fault.
There's a lot of polarization on all sides, whether you're looking at, all the racial trauma going on right now, the political trauma. And I have friends from all kinds of parties and all kinds of ethnicities as well. And the ones that I decide to surround myself with are people from all walks of life, political, religious, blah, 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 doesn't matter. And these are people who understand what you and I are talking about, right? So it's like, I'm not going to surround myself with people that are weak-minded. Those weak-minded people have a lot of growth. They're welcome to follow those people that I'm connected with, or even me. I'd be honored to help them pull themselves out of their own shit. And that's a big part of what we're talking about here is that until you realize that you got to work on you.
Yep.
Doesn't matter how many counselors or therapists, everybody's got a therapist. I'm like, okay, I'm not saying that they can't help, but the therapist is a tool. The counselor is a tool. And I have to admit, even a pharmaceutical temporarily might be a tool in your arsenal, but that's all it is. Use it effectively, use it appropriately, and then graduate beyond it, move beyond it. And what frustrates me with our amazing servicemen and servicewomen like yourself is that people who have served on the front lines, who are struggling with PTSD. I just recently aired a show, Dr. Reagan Anderson. I forget what division he was in, but he served as a medical doctor, like on the front lines. It's just the stories he has in his book are profound. And it's like everybody says, oh, here, just take a drug. Just take a drug. Just take a drug. I'm like, no. Okay, maybe temporarily. I'll admit it. I took an antidepressant back in 2006 after a breakup, and I hated it. I was like, what the hell? Why am I being such a bitch? And I called myself on that. And that's when I realized there's something wrong here. And I realized, okay, all these years later, I could look back and say, okay, well, I wasn't happy with my career. I wasn't happy with a lot of other things going on. That was just a breaking point.
Yeah.
And it takes our own personal and professional growth. And until you're ready to reflect inward on yourself, you're not gonna realize these things. So I'm like, within 3 months, I'm like, I hate this shit. My head's all fucked up. I don't want to be on this drug. Get me the hell out of it. And then next thing you know, I'm getting into mountain biking more, and I'm channeling sports. I'm too extra. I have a career job. I have 2 extra side hustle jobs. Like I'm bouncing at a bar while working a professional corporate career, and I'm teaching spinning classes because I was like, I just got to keep myself busy while I work on my shit. It's like, I don't want to be on any pharmaceuticals. I'm not a fan of it. But the problem is that was my story, right? Part of my story. In your guys' case, you guys are stepping on IEDs. You're getting shot. I mean, people are losing limbs. There's a whole other level of trauma there. And it frustrates me when I find out about people that I also know personally that have served, who have been on a drug for a long period of time. And the counseling or the therapy doesn't seem to be working. I can't remember how many times I hear this over and over again. And all great books like yours too. And it's frustrating. And I'm not even somebody who has served like you. So
well,
how do you guys roll with this?
So I agree and I disagree.
Yeah, please.
So yeah, I also, after a major life breakup, did the antidepressant, and back in like 2004, I think mine was, and it was So
that affected your Air Force opportunity you were trying to go for.
Yeah. But so I also, so when it comes to PTSD and people, the one thing that I like to, well, it's not that I like to, but I don't agree with is this. is people say, well, I don't have the same experience as you do. Well, you do. They're just not as sexy as what the news makes going to Afghanistan and this and this and this. Everybody, it doesn't matter if you were a soldier on the front lines, or if you're a firefighter on the front lines, or if you're a first responder to that car accident and there's a car seat in the back, but there's no kid in it anymore. And people get so wrapped around the fact that troops and PTSD, but there's also a lot of victimization with that too.
Okay.
And so I do understand PTS. I 100% do. And I don't want to lose, like, I don't want people to go on this, anti-Ryan, crusade because of my beliefs on PTSD. But I believe, in my opinion, a lot of PTSD, there are people that suffer. They do suffer from PTS, 100%, but you don't need to be a soldier to suffer. Another thing, though, is I have seen in my time in the military, there are a lot of people that understand the stigma behind PTS, and they ride that wave. They enjoy that publicity. They enjoy having that nationally stated issue. Yeah, I have PTSD because of, and here's the thing that I've also noticed is PTSD has been around, World War I, World War II, whatnot. But when it really started busting onto the scene, and again, 100% in my opinion, I do not have a medical background, and I'm not anything like that. This is just my opinion from what I've seen. But when PTSD started becoming a really big issue is also the same time the victimization started becoming a really big issue. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, so I've been in some crazy firefights. You'll read about one in the last couple chapters where I actually got the Silver Star. But your brain can only comprehend so much of a traumatic incident. So if it's only Ryan Hendrickson and I'm out there and I'm slinging lead with the enemy, I'm only going to remember so much because your brain shuts down and adrenaline takes over. There's a reason why when we train, they get you cold, hungry, tired, wet, and then you train. Why? Because you've depleted all of your natural, you depleted basically yourself down to the very basic of a human being, and then they train you so you create the muscle memory. Well, the reason for that is because when rounds start flying, your brain shuts down and you go off of muscle memory. That's the reason why we drill so much. And so you go off of muscle memory: shoot, move, communicate. So one of the things that I've seen is when you get done with a pretty bad firefight and you're sitting back, you can't really figure out what happened. So then you start to talk. Hey man, what did you see? On a 12-man ODA, you can get 12 different stories. You can get the old salty guys like, yeah, that wasn't shit, you newbies. Or you can get the kid that thinks it was Normandy. And I mentioned Normandy because I have nothing but respect. Like, awesome. But you're going to get a bunch of different stories because your brain can't comprehend what happened. So then also, when did PTSD start becoming really, really powerful is when our media and our TV shows and our movies and everything like that. So now all of a sudden, when you're trying to fill those blanks in on what your brain thinks you saw during that incident, you start to fill it with what you have seen before in movies and stuff like that. And so now all of a sudden you're formulating this idea about a situation that took place that your brain just naturally, there's no way you can go that fine into detail. It's impossible.
Yeah.
There's certain people that can,
from your experience, right? Your professional experience. Like you said, the old salty guy has been through so many cycles of it that he's going to have a different recollection or capturing, photographing of what happened
Yeah.
versus the rookie, so to speak, or the
Yep.
newer recruit.
Yeah, what I would think is a wildfire that we need to get our fire blankets out and get under. You would be like, no, let's dig a fire line right here. This is stupid. You're
Yeah,
an idiot under
never
your
deployed a
blanket.
shelter, so that's the last thing you should ever worry about doing.
But you know what I'm saying? It's different. And so, in my opinion, PTSD is real. It definitely is. And there's people that suffer from it. You don't have to be a soldier to suffer from it. A lot of traumatic incidents out there. But PTSD is so publicized now that it's almost like it feeds into more PTSD cases.
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion. I'm not necessarily saying people are faking it. What I'm saying is that people maybe have some sort of issues with natural life. Like,
Sure.
hey man, I have issues with the Humvee that blew up in front of me. Okay, gotcha. This is life. Move on. But now there's actually there's a label to it, and it's called PTSD. And now I can continue with these issues.
And it festers.
And I can continue having this as an issue because this is a real thing. Oh, that's got to be what my problem is. It's PTSD. When in a sense, it's just, hey, man, you need to own it. It was life. You were in the military, which you volunteered for. And things happen, you know?
That's what I got out of this. I mean, and thank you for such a very, very honest and detailed explanation. But thanks to what you kind of prefaced before we went down the PTSD route, we were already talking about us in life, you know, military or not, stepping up in life and owning our shit. And again, it's going to be easier versus harder, depending on the person, depending on how they grew up, depending on their background, depending on their social influences, level of education, yada, yada, yada. And my own personal growth has only gotten better the faster I get at owning my shit. Like, so things, guess what? Like I'm now in my 40s and now I'm married and now I'm trying to grow a business. I'm trying to grow my own foundation, my own nonprofit now. Not easy. Okay. But, right. But it's like, something I started saying in the past year or so in the podcast world is like, if I'm talking to somebody about weight loss, or I'm talking to somebody about growing their mental capacity and knowledge and experience, or whatever, or entrepreneurship, it's like, guys, like the biggest thing that we have to do is start putting in the reps. So you allow yourself to become stuck in that prior premise, right? It's like, okay, well, now you're stuck. So you can only grow so much in this one little place. So the sooner you unglue your feet or hands or however you're sitting there stuck and start moving forward, the sooner you start growing and owning your shit. So I always say to people like, guys, I'm just at a different place in the timeline than somebody else I'm talking to, or somebody who's advanced way beyond me, multi-author, editor, Hillary who's helping me. I'm like, she's way further down the timeline. Book stuff, right? Like you and your crew. We're just like, yeah, I'm working with you because I don't have a clue about that. But they put steps. So that's where I'm hearing all this tonight. I'm hearing that from you too. It's like, even with PTSD, okay, we're honoring that, we're respecting that. What I heard from you from the very beginning of this was like, okay, what can we do, or who can we surround ourselves with to help us move forward from that, grow from that? Because that's something I loved from Dr. Reagan Anderson. He's like, listen, me being a doctor, he's a doctor in Colorado today. He puts it out there that he still has PTSD. But he said, listen, I don't let my PTSD own me. He said, now granted, he's like, because he and I were talking about CrossFit and functional fitness. And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, I'm up every morning at 4:30 in the morning. And he's like, I don't just put in a workout. I beat the shit out of myself. And he says, but I need to do that because that helps me, clear my head and prepare for my day, because I need to be a great doctor. I need to go help people. And it was just interesting hearing it that way, because like other people choose working out for different reasons. But he's like, if I don't do that, if I don't have my morning routine, I cannot overcome and defeat something like PTSD, which is real. And I was like, so that was him. He figured it out. He put in the work, and he's got a whole protocol that he follows, and he doesn't let him phase him. And it was interesting. So it's a similar perspective. It's like, okay, let's work on that. What do we got to do? Which each and every person who really do has it, but okay, what can we do to own our shit and move forward? That's what I got out of you with all that explanation. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and I mean, and I do agree. I mean, I agree to a point, but I think like post-traumatic stress disorder, it's to me it boils down to life. Like life happened. You chose the profession and you chose that profession. I chose to be a Green Beret in the time of war. And other people, you know, you're this or that. It's
Oh, we're losing some of your connection. Still there, Ryan?
Still there?
Yeah, you're sounding a little electronic.
Yeah, I'm here.
Bad internet connection. That's all. I just want to make sure if I have to pause it or not, we can. So, do I sound
okay? Am I still up?
Yeah, yeah. You were just breaking up, so I didn't want to lose your powerful words. Let's try this. I'm going to see if I guess in my signal, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to try shutting your video off because that's frozen, and see if that because that usually helps.
Okay.
1 second. Let me stop my video. Let me stop your video. Still hear me okay? All right, shut video off. How we doing there, Ryan?
Yep, doing good.
There we go. If you shut video feed down, your bandwidth gets way better in the internet world.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So you were saying you were breaking up.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's like, you know, the medical personnel, you know, frontline to first responders to everything. I'm not saying that people haven't seen or part of bad things. Life is full of bad things. It may sound to people, life is not easy. And basically, stress disorder, it's like, well, disorder. I understand the post-traumatic stress, but you kind of, I mean, and so, and again, I'm not anybody, but I do not. PTSD should be a lifelong jail cell.
Okay.
Disorder means that this it's you have it's a disorder that
We're definitely getting a bad connection now. Let me try and pause this and see if we can clean this up, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, Ryan, you're just cutting out a lot. All right, we definitely lost Ryan, ladies and gentlemen, on the live feed. We're going to try and get him reconnected back up. So just stand by. I mean, this is the trials and tribulations of going live and trying to help somebody get some amazing words and amazing author life out there. So again, we'll be airing this in the coming months here on the Live the Fuel podcast. So actually, I'll reconnect my video because I'm fine on my end. So it's just sometimes the internet world can be a little feisty. So anyway, hang tight. And he's coming back on now. So let's see if he gets a stronger connection here. He's almost back on. Well, while he reconnects, I'm going to remind everybody, let me screen share here for the video feed. This is his website again. It's ryanmhendrickson.com. Again, the book is called Tip of the Spear, the incredible story of an injured Green Beret's return to battle. And I've been loving tonight's conversation, and his book, like I said, I have no problem being honest. We have not gotten all the way through the book yet, and he's been amazing to get him connected. Looks like he's reconnecting up now. So again, make sure you check out Tip of the Spear. I've already got him. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, when you go to my website and you go to livethefuel.com, we have the Amazon banner. And on the Amazon banner, when you click on that, that actually takes you to my little influencer page in the Amazon world. And when you go there, there's a whole book recommendation section. So I've already added his book to the book recommendation section on Amazon. So if you need to find it easier and you want to support the show, absolutely just go click on that and go check out Tip of the Spear. Again, you can get it physically, you can get it in Audible, you can get everything. I see you're back, Ryan. So I'll just
Yeah.
I'm filling in my job as the host. And
Nice.
I'm sharing your website again and the book again and explain to people like this is the fun of live podcasting. This is why I don't edit either. I want people to know that the struggle is real. Well, these are, you just came from outside the country. Like, I get people like, these are first world problems. So
Yeah.
I don't care. I just roll with it. So
Nice.
but I want to reiterate what you were saying. So you broke up a lot, and I want to make sure you got those words out because, and by the way, are you still good for a few minutes? Because I know we're going a little bit long. So.
Oh yeah, no, I'm good.
Awesome. So I love it when I have a guest co-host like you and we agree to disagree, but you weren't really agreeing to disagree, but you're trying to clarify your points on the PTSD and how, again, you don't have to be in the military to have PTSD. And there's a piece of the victimization and owning it and how to move through this process. So feel free to, you just broke up a lot. That's all.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. You caught the part that I was saying about training for muscle failure and because your brain can only comprehend so much of a traumatic incident, and so you start to fill it in with what you think happened, and you're using a lot of your environment, the movies you watch, the TV shows, what your buddies said, whatnot like that. Well, I'm not saying PTSD and PTS. I'm not saying it's not a real thing. It definitely is. What I disagree with is that it's a lifestyle. It is not. I believe that that's a prison sentence that each person chooses. And I do know that people have seen some pretty traumatic stuff. Again, you do not have to be military to have been a part of something that even I couldn't imagine. Yeah. Military is very easy. Some of the things that our first responders deal with, I couldn't even imagine it. It would blow my mind. But I do believe that having this lifelong disorder because of something that negatively impacted you in life, I believe that's a victim mindset. I really do. And I'm not saying that people are not those scars of what happened aren't going to be with you for the rest of your life. But like your surgeon friend who said, he said, "Hey, I don't let it hold me back. It happened, and it can come back and get me if I do this, or this, but I choose not to because I'm not a victim of my circumstance. I've taken control of my life. I own my life, and therefore I own this situation that happened." A lot of people don't want to own it because there's, number one, we've made it very easy for people to not have to own it anymore. People don't have to take accountability anymore. Somebody will take accountability for you. It is very easy. Today is easier probably than ever in the history of the United States for someone just to exist. You don't have to be contributing part of anything. You can just exist. And
use the systems that are in place. So
and that's the mindset that keeps people into these holes. The PTSD has a hold of you, and you can never break the lock of that. Like I said, your buddy who's a surgeon in Colorado, he said it best. Yeah, I had some bad shit happen to me. I owned it. I owned it. It's mine, and I'm gonna continue owning it. And it really it hurts me when I see that person, and I can only equate it to this: they're in the water, and they're drowning, and you throw them the life raft, or I'm sorry, the buoy or the rope, or you pull a boat up next to them, and they won't get in because no one's there to help them. It's like, dude, I've thrown you this. Well, no, you have to come and actually hand it to me.
Yeah. Now I need you to pull the rope, take me all the way to the boat. Now I need
Yep.
you to lift me and the life preserver up into the boat, and then take
Yep.
that preserver off of me. That'd be great.
Yep.
Like a VIP service, man. You should charge for that.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, that's what's holding so many people back today. It's not the fact of what happened to you. Bad shit happens, man. You can't, this is life. Anybody who thinks life is easy and it's supposed to be wonderful all the time, they're going to have a miserable life, because it's not.
Yeah.
But owning your life, you got to own it.
I like the words you said a few minutes ago about, again, it's real, but it's like, do you want it to be a prison sentence? So that's stuck in my head when you said prison sentence. I'm like, no, I mean, God, I want to be free. I mean, we're in a country, of freedoms compared to a lot of other countries, especially communist countries. It's like, we do not understand how good we have it. Again, no country is perfect, no system is perfect, but like, again, do you really want to allow something to imprison you and hold you back from, just like your father told you, right? This chance for a new life, to give back, to motivate and inspire others. I mean, that's kind of what got me into writing the book too, is, I didn't go through the level of trauma you did, but it's like, oh my God, look at this level of growth that I got to go do a career that I forget years ago, I looked at the numbers, like less than 1% of the world's population would even think about doing hotshot, right? Because like it's only like 105 hotshot crews in the nation. So it's like, it was a very unique role. But the prison sentence was stuck in my head, and I love the way you put that. By the way, I'll share this with you because you're probably going to listen to his book. He's also very religious with what he went through. But Dr. Reagan Anderson, I was telling you about, his book is called Universal Healthcare, a solution of healthcare in the age of entitlement. So there's your entitlement.
Oh, wow.
Like, I got to share this guy with you because he was again, being a combat doc. And I mean, dude, he served in, oh God, what was that god awful place in Iraq? I know there's a lot of them. Start with an F.
Talking about Fallujah?
Oh yeah, he was in Fallujah, dude. So yeah, I'm surprised you probably don't even know. But I mean, then again, there's hundreds of thousands of soldiers over there serving. But yeah, he trust me. I mean, again, his podcast is already live. If you're now that you're stateside and you want to hear some great words from another great soldier, I mean, he's an amazing man, and he's trying to.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but as soon as you said entitlement, I'm like, oh, I got to at least share a book with you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I love it.
So, but he had some crazy traumatic stories to share as well. I mean, a lot of you guys do, and ladies out there, ladies who serve as well. So it's unfortunate, and these are the things that happen in this world and they have to happen. But I love the fact you really hit on the prison sentence, because it doesn't have to be PTSD either. I tell people all the time, like, okay, let's go outside that keyword there, right? Like, there's a lot of things that we allow ourselves to be imprisoned by today.
Yep.
And it's like, you don't know how easy you got it. Like, just put in a little bit of work and realize what you're capable of doing. And I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
on a farm, man, I shoveled a lot of shit as a kid. So
yeah, I mean, yeah. Think about the prison sentences. People, again, this is the only prison in the entire world that you can willingly walk out of. It's crazy, but there's a lot. It's not just PTSD. People have imprisoned themselves to prescription drugs. People have imprisoned themselves to fast food.
Yep.
People have
food. Oh yeah, Reagan and I went off on that.
Yeah,
but also alcoholism. You talk a lot about
alcohol,
right?
Yep.
His father was imprisoned at one point in time by that before he got into religion.
Yeah. There's a lot of different prison sentences. It's not just PTSD. PTSD happens to be, you know, it it's a hot topic right now, but man, I mean, again, it's the only prison that I've ever heard of where you can willingly choose to leave the prison whenever you want.
Check yourself out whenever you want.
You just got to put in the work.
Yeah. Oh, well, key words right there. Put in the work, right?
Yep.
Well, I mean, so let's change the subject because I do want to make sure I get your evening back to you. But you've been going through some, obviously you kind of hinted at earlier in the show. There's 29 surgeries, and I'm a geek about technology and the advancements of what we're doing to help our former military and the people who have served. And I was looking at your Instagram, and you shared a post from a young woman who's going through some of the same procedures that you've gone through. Obviously, the fact that, okay, you sir, unfortunately stepped on an IED. Okay, is this like advanced robotic leg stuff? Like, what are we talking about now? What was that thing called? IOE, or what is it?
So it's called an IDEO, IDEO.
Okay.
It's like some intra exoskeleton ID.
Yeah.
Introdynamic exoskeleton ortho something really, really long and nerdy. I have no idea. But yeah, Dominique, yeah, she's a stud. She's owning it, and it's awesome. I'm happy for her. But yeah, it basically when I stepped on the IED, I remember well, actually I actually first didn't think I stepped on it because with what you see in movies and everything like that, it didn't look right. I saw the flash of light, and I saw, the explosion wasn't as loud as I thought it was going to be. But then again, it's because, blew your eardrums out. But
oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. But
while you're explaining this, I'm going to share your Instagram because there's this was her sharing photos to you, right? So that's her getting fitted. That's the attachment, I guess.
Yep.
And there she is. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm laying there on the ground, and I'm just trying to I got some pictures of it on my Facebook, but I'm trying to figure out what just happened, and I keep trying to get up and I can't, and I fall back down. I'm getting pissed, but I can't breathe either because the dust and the ammonia from the homemade explosives and everything like that. And so finally, when the dust starts to clear, I see my boot, and it's like, I don't know, it's like 6 inches away from my leg. And I was like, man, I don't remember taking my boot off. And then I looked down again, and the dust had cleared some more, and I saw these two like pearly white, the whitest things I've ever seen, sticking out of the bottom of my leg. I was like,
bones.
Well, I don't know what that is. Well, then the pain started creeping in, and I realized like that's my tib and my fib, and my boot over there, that's where the rest of my leg is at. So so basically we had to hurry up because the Taliban, at first they were celebrating on the radio that they hit me, and so they were watching us. But then they were talking about putting in the ambush, and so we need to get going out of there pretty quick. So the team, bandaged me up the best they could, and we started moving out. Well, I got medevaced, got me to the first field hospital, and then finally got me to Germany. And it took me a couple weeks to get to Germany, actually, or maybe like a week to get to Germany, because trying to stabilize me to fly. And from Germany, they're like, hey, we need to keep your limb attached, for infection reason and whatnot like that. We have wound vacs all over the place.
Prevent and stuff like that.
Yeah, get me to San Antonio where they can do the proper amputation and whatnot like that, because my leg was hanging on by skin. And so got me to San Antonio, and Dr. Shu, he came into my room one day, and well, like shortly after, I don't know, he said, hey man, we got a limb salvage surgery we think you're a perfect candidate for, but chances of it working are pretty slim. But if you want, I mean, you can sign these papers and we can go ahead, because if it does work, um, you're gonna you're gonna advance limb salvage medical technology. Like, this is gonna benefit people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
So you were kind of like a prototype?
I was one of them. I was the more. I'm not sure if I was the worst, but I was one of the worst legs that they had come in, that they actually were able to reattach.
Wow. I got a shot of you here in the hospital bed.
Yeah, that's one. I got some gnarly photos on there.
Oh, yeah,
They're
you got one
badass.
from hold on, the one from the bottom of the foot here. 1 second. And this is real, people. I mean, look at that.
Well, so that's with the skin graft on. I have a few photos that I had posted on my Facebook page. That was like a couple weeks after I got hit, and it's before they put the skin grafts on.
Right.
But yeah, they're pretty bloody and everything like that. So I don't know if people want to see that.
Yeah,
But
I'll keep it to we'll keep it to some of the after flouts. I mean, it's still though, even you in the wheelchair, you could see the amount of obviously scarring and surgical procedures and this crazy bracing that they got you in just to keep everything stable and attached. So
yeah, but yeah, he had basically challenged me, and I was like, well, yeah, I mean, if it'll help somebody out. And so we went through. I went through the limb salvage process, and my skin grafts took the first time. That's a skin graft on the bottom of my foot and on my both sides of my leg, and
yeah.
I was able to grow back like 2 inches or more of my tibula, and then yeah, and then next thing I know, I mean, my sergeant major said if I can get cleared, medically cleared, he'd send me back to Afghanistan. And everyone was like, "Oh, that was so sweet of you to say that." Well, he didn't realize I was going to take him serious. And yeah, and I got cleared and got the waiver to. I was medically retired, and then I fought to stay on active duty through a bunch of waivers, and then I was granted those waivers, and then I was non-deployable, but I proved to seventh group, hey, look, I can do what everyone else can do. And so they gave me a waiver, and about 14 months later, I was back in Afghanistan in the most IED part of the country in Panjwai district, Kandahar province.
That is
So,
wild, man. I mean,
yeah.
usually by that point, people are like, all right, I can retire. But again, like, if I go back to the earlier part of the book, because that's the only part I'm through so far, it's like even earlier in the book, you hint at it's like you struggled with not being in the action, and obviously at
Yeah.
the start of this show, I already can hear it in your voice. Like, dude, I'm day 7. I'm backstage side recording this tonight, and today was your first day going into town, and all that stuff, and you're like, holy crap, like your mental resilience is about to be retested. It sounds like you kind of joked around earlier, like, oh, Afghanistan's easy. That's what I'm hearing from you right now. You're like, dude, I went back and with a recovered leg and still went and served. So like, clearly you're like, all right, that's way easier. Obviously, I'm sure Dawn, your wife, would be much happier having you finally here stateside.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure is she prepared to, I guess, handle the transition ahead?
Yeah. Yeah, I've got, I mean, we've been through, she went through the 2010 blast, and then the whole, the miscommunication with whether I was alive or dead or not to my family. That was fun.
Yeah. How do you do that? I'm trying not to laugh. I'm just like kind of shocked. I'm like, what? Oh, my bad. He's good. He just has a major injury, but he's alive. Okay.
Yeah.
He wasn't dead. Yeah. So
yeah, 2010. That was the height of the war when people were getting injured, and a lot of deaths. Actually, 2010 has the most KIA out of any year of the war.
wow.
But yeah, but then I went back in 2012, and I found a lot of IEDs, and we were in a bad area, gotten a lot of gunfights, and it's just addicting. And then back in 2016, went back again, and she had to deal with, the whole incident of that I got the Silver Star for, and you don't just get it because you were out handing out backpacks to an Afghan village.
Right.
And then Yeah, that was last year, finding IEDs in Nangarhar, and everyone knows.
You couldn't just let the IED thing go, could you? You're like,
No.
let's go scan for some more. So
Yeah, that was in Nangarhar, and everybody knows about Nangarhar and ISIS, so that was bad. Yep, 2017.
You're in some shit there, man.
Yeah, Nangarhar is no joke. But yeah, it was it's been a wild ride, and it's been a really good time. But she probably needs to write a book of it would open up so many wives' like
I was
eyes.
just thinking that, it's 10 years now, through all, since then. And I hear a lot about, the significant others, the psychological, I guess, fortitude that they have to develop, to get through a lot of this. And unfortunately, some relationships don't last. And
Yeah,
hey, man, she's a hero in her own right. Of
this job in the world.
Yeah.
There's no job tougher.
No, I'm like, oh my God, how could she put up with your shit?
Yeah, especially letting someone go back that had just almost lost his life.
Right? Yeah. It saved a life, even saved the leg. Like,
Yeah.
hey, baby, so I'm gonna go ahead and go back. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I sprung it on her more like I don't have a choice. I have to. But yeah,
How did she think that?
Yeah, now she knows better.
I was gonna say, like, that was a bit of a stretch there, my friend.
Oh yeah, big time.
That's hero points on her part right there. It's like, okay, yeah, I can see your point.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, you literally are a proven prototype. If you're one of the earliest people going through that surgery, because prior to this, that level of trauma to an appendage,
it was just gone.
Up an amputation.
Oh yeah, there's no questions asked. It was gone. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so clearly, I mean, how many proven cases like you have been this successful?
I don't have the statistics on that, but I do know that my doctor has told me I'm still probably one of the worst limbs he's had come through. That he's been able to salvage.
Okay.
So yeah,
that's wild.
Yep.
You got one heck of a diversified story, my friend. And if I could speak in your honor, I would say, listen, if I was hosting an event in the coming, post-COVID, whatever crap we got going on right now, I would hire you in a heartbeat to come out and speak, because people need to hear not just the amazing, obviously, background of everything you've gone through, but I guess that's why I love books like yours, because as soon as I started getting into your book, I'm like, look at this. He's changed literally careers within your profession multiple times. You've served is it 3 different branches of the military now?
Yeah.
Navy, Air Force, Army.
Yep.
It's like, just to build out a whole portfolio, just get them all the way around, cover as many bases as I can. But that's just one thing you could speak on. But, and I will tell you, like, honestly, please consider, if those haven't been offered to you yet, obviously that's one of the biggest things I've seen professionally in the business world now is that's a natural next step for an author who has written a powerful book like this, is that, be ready to expand your speaking career. And I think it would be very beneficial to you and Dawn. And it sounds like, heck, I would have her up on stage right next to me because I think her voice is just as powerful, just with what you guys have gone through. So
yeah.
Well, hopefully she does. If you can convince her to write a book. It's a hack for you. I didn't write my book. I hate writing. So
yeah,
I downloaded an app called Otter, like the animal.ai. So while I was traveling, I would just turn it on my iPhone and start speaking the chapter and recording it. And then it transcribes it into a text file, and you can export it like into a Word document. So I just took all of those files and just sent them to my editor. And that's what she and I have been doing for the past month and a half, is making sense out of all of it, restructuring them, putting that's what we've been doing. And I was like, I wish I would have done this a year ago. I wrote the book.
I kind of feel stupid right now.
No, listen, I'm just saying, like, I'm like you. I was like, I don't have the time to sit down and write. Like the fact that you were able to keyboard thing, I mean, and I'm pretty tech savvy. I was like, no, no. But because I travel so much, I was like, all right, let me just voice transcribe this, get the thoughts out, speak in. I'll warn you, it's clunky. I mean, it's pretty advanced tech and on a nice iPhone app, but it's not perfect. So that's where you need
Yeah.
the. And if you already had, if you had an editor too, so it's like, well, then shit. I was like, if I end up writing another book, or should say speaking another book, I'm going to do the same thing again. Like I'm a writer, so
Man, now, yeah, now that would be a lot easier because I mean, I'm not trying to brag about myself,
yeah.
but I'm probably the fastest two-finger typer, probably.
Okay, I actually know home row and can do all that, and I still didn't want to do that. But the reason why I'm sharing this is because you have other connections, and I'm sure you know other people that have stories that need to be told. And this is what
Yeah,
my editor told me. She's like, Scott, she's like, shit or get off the pot. She's like, I know you've got your own roadblocks up and you're holding yourself back, even though you help other people not hold themselves back. But she's like, you're doing it to yourself right now. She's like, somebody will benefit from your story. Somebody
yeah.
will benefit from your book. So
I
she's like,
can't wait for it to come out.
thank you. I mean, that's why it's just like you. It's like, I'm sure your editor told you the same thing. Like people could benefit from this story. So if you
Yep.
don't put it out there, you're actually being selfish. And when she told me that, I was like, oh man, all right, let's do it.
That must be an editor thing because yeah, they said the same thing to me. Is like, who do you think you are holding this story back from people?
Right.
I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Well, the biggest thing is I'm sure you've heard the term imposter syndrome. We're all going to be guilty of it. If it's a fear or whatever it is, but like, oh man, you're worried for some reason. No, we don't care what other people think. Technically we do a little bit. And then you're actually holding yourself back. It's like, oh, well, who am I to write a book? Who am I to possibly get up on stage one day and speak about this? But like that's our own shit. Like we just have to, it's our own roadblocks we're putting up, our own prisons. There you go. Full circle that we're
Yeah,
putting ourselves into. And we just got to put in the reps and pull ourselves out of that prison. And hey, if I get through to 5 people, hell, one person, it's already worth it. Right. One
that's
person benefits from your book. It's worth it.
that's been my mindset with my book. Once I mean, because books, you're not going to make money writing a book, and so that's been my mindset. Is if I get through to one person,
Yeah.
then the book's a success. And I could say right now, from 3 very very detailed emails I got, the book's a success 3 times over
There you
because
go.
it saved 3 people. And I'm like, you know what?
So you
Did
give me
it.
chills. I'm actually get the goosebumps just hearing that shit. So I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
all right, I like that. So, and
Yep.
that's why I'm doing it. I mean, like when the book is done, unless she convinces me to change the title, it's going to be called "So You Want to Be a Hot Shot,"
Mhm.
because what I was
See,
trying to,
that's awesome. I like that.
I found a hot shot cruise like U.S. Forest Service page, and the superintendent wrote that as the title, and I can't find it anymore. This is 10 years ago, but then
Yeah.
he went into I don't know if he was former military or what, but he basically listed every god awful thing that the job would entail. Right? He's just like, oh, so you want to be a hot shot? FYI, you're gonna go through all this shit,
Yeah.
and then there's gonna be a little more of that shit. 16 hours a day, and sometimes we're gonna work all night long. You might go a 24-hour shift. It's rare, but it's gonna happen. But it's like
Yeah.
if you read all of this and you still want to talk to us, here's our contact information. So it's always stuck in my head. And then when I started thinking, it's like, dude, I should just title the book that, because that's a
Yeah.
mental game right there.
I
And
think it's awesome.
thank you. I'm honored because I was like, I'm actually getting excited because we're this far. I only have 2 chapters left to edit, and
Yeah.
and then she's gonna put it all together, and then I have to read it all the way through. I'm like, so we're right towards that end. I think. Does that sound like I'm towards the end? You've already finished your book. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll
Yeah.
put it out before the end of the year. So if I could do a holiday push and give back before the end of the year, that'd be great. So because like you and I said, we're not gonna become rich off of books. But
No.
help people, great. And that's why I
Yep.
just like, all right, I'm literally going to self-publish on Amazon so I don't spend any money. And then I'm going to donate 100% of the proceeds to nonprofit because that's why I started my foundation last year. I'm like, great, those funds can go into the foundation, and then I can then pick and choose firefighting charities or efforts and give, hopefully forever.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
right?
Yeah, I'm excited for you. I'll tell you, like I never cared about what anybody thought until I wrote this book, and I realized I actually do care about what people think. So you are correct on that. I never thought I did, but
Well,
apparently I do.
do
So
you follow Joe Rogan?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Funny ass guy, but let me tell you, one of the biggest tips, and as a business guy nowadays, I agree with, don't read your comments. Like today's show, this comes out. I'm actually excited to see if you get any haters out of our whole PTSD debate.
Oh my gosh.
Everything you and I discussed, and I think you did a great job, counterbalancing your points, and I think
Yeah.
we're fine. But every once in a while, some people don't listen all the way through, or they don't read all the way through, and you're always going to get those people who just take snippets and just say something. And the biggest thing Joe Rogan says is like, dude, I never go back and look at what anybody has said on any tweet or Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, whatever. He's like, I put my shit out there and I move on. so
That's
so
smart.
that's one of his best tips that I can share with you is that now obviously read the good things, but he's like,
Yeah.
there's always gonna be a negative Nancy. There's always gonna be a hater. That's somebody who hasn't pulled themselves out of their own prison and
Yep.
needs to work on their shit. So
Yeah.
so
I agree.
So or I'll be happy. You can send me a couple comments and I'll be happy to respond for you.
I like it.
Yeah, pull your head out of your ass and move on, bro. Stop hating on people. So
Yep.
well, listen, I want to get you back to your amazing wife. So I do ask my guest co-host to just help close out the show. So, and it's really, really simple because you've gone through so much. I just ask, hey, is there an all-encompassing message you want to leave behind, a lesson, a total lesson learned? In the past year, I'm now calling it kind of like a legacy message. Now, obviously, your book, Tip of the Spear, is a legacy message in itself. But is there something that you want to kind of sum it up with tonight?
Yeah, I think kind of going back over what we talked about is my biggest message that I have is remember victimization and choosing to be a victim of circumstances is again, I just said it, it's a choice. You don't have to live that way. You can control the way you think and the way things affect you. And definitely it is a prison, but it's the only prison in the world that you can willfully leave whenever you're ready to. But I highly recommend, don't fall into that mindset, into that pit, into that trap of victimization, because you don't have to, but it's very hard to get out of once you're in. So
Well
that's
said.
that's really it.
I'm writing this all down because I'm going to put together a really good title for this episode when we air it out. And I'm
Nice.
probably going to have victimization and entitlement in the title. So,
Yeah.
because it sounds like you and I are vibing on that. So,
Yep.
listen, hang tight when I get a proper goodbye off the air. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the man, Ryan Hendrickson. So, again, if you're a true Fuel fan of this show, please, even if you don't have, if you're struggling financially with COVID and everything else going on here in 2020, I respect it. I honor it. At least share it. If you heard this show tonight and it's live on the Live the Fuel page on Facebook, please share the message. There's somebody out there that could benefit from not just this podcast, but obviously his book, his message he's moving on to the world. Again, if you want to follow him, he's on Facebook. He's on Instagram. Instagram is actually, the @ is Tip of the Spear, RMH. And then obviously he's on Facebook. And then if you just want to like keep it nice and general and simple, just go to his main like blog homepage, which is ryanmhendrickson.com. Everything about the book there. I hinted at it earlier. If you use the Amazon banner on the Live the Fuel page, it'll take you right to my influencer page, and there's book recommendations there. His book is now listed in there with every other amazing author we've had on the show. So ladies and gentlemen, remember, we're here to fuel your health, your business, and your lifestyle. Ryan definitely helped us do that today. So please support him and every other amazing author we have out there. And remember, you too can live the fuel, and we'll talk to you guys again soon.